20 years in prison by 3 hand-picked national security law judges who have presided over his trial for the last several years. He was convicted in December, on the 15th of December, of 2 counts of collusion under the national security law and 1 of sedition. He was convicted following a trial which has seen nothing substantive of any incriminating nature about him at all, but which resulted in an 855-page judgment. And now today we get a 47-page document sentencing him and his co-defendants for these so-called crimes. Also sentenced today was the company itself, the company through which Apple Daily, the newspaper, was run so successfully for so long, and the other digital media outlets Mr. Lai founded and ran in Hong Kong. Those companies were fined 3 million Hong Kong dollars, despite the court acknowledging that they were insolvent, they have no means of paying it. And what that demonstrates is the total destruction of press freedom and the rule of law in Hong Kong. They've silenced the individuals, Mr. Lai and his colleagues, the colleagues that he stayed in Hong Kong to protect. And they've silenced and shut down the printing presses themselves by destroying the company and the financial assets behind them. The sentencing sends a crystal clear message that this that lawful dissent in Hong Kong will no longer be tolerated. 20 years is a very long time in anyone's life. Mr. Lai, as you know, is 78 years old, and his health is rapidly failing. The situation could not be more urgent. We're encouraged to hear today Yvette Cooper, the British Foreign Secretary, reiterating the British government's view that this is a political persecution. It's been a political trial. These are political charges, and it's a political conviction. And she and her government stand with Claire and Sebastian's dad and with all the people of Hong Kong on this day, this dark day in Hong Kong's history. We've since had statements of support from all over the world, including the US, from Amnesty International, CPJ, and too many others for me to go through today. So I'm going to hand over to Sebastian to say a few words, and then we can take questions.
Thank you, Jonathan. You know, as Jonathan mentioned, this 20 years it's a farce. It's essentially tantamount to a life sentence, or as Human Rights Watch calls it, a death sentence, because in the conditions that my father is being kept in, I don't know if he even has a tenth of that. Truth be told, I think this is one of those moments where many of you would have followed this for the last 5 years. And at every turn when the Hong Kong government could have done the right thing, they decided not to. We are now in a situation where, you know, it took decades and decades to build up the Hong Kong legal system to what it was, the respect that it had internationally, and within 5 years, this government essentially managed to destroy it. And every single day my father is in prison, they're not only telling everybody in Hong Kong what their legal system is now, they're also telling all of us, all of you guys, members of the media, the price of speaking out, the price of doing the right thing. I think many people have asked me how I felt today in interviews. Obviously, horrible. Even though you expect the sentence to come, you're still devastated by it. But one little thing that has given me sort of this bittersweet moment was when they sentenced my father. In court, I heard that he was stoic and he smiled, almost as an act of defiance. to all these people, all these horrible people who are doing these horrible things to him. And it makes me remember one quote that Apple Daily had in this inaugural edition. And it says, are we not afraid of the handover in 1997? Of course, we're afraid, but we refuse to be intimidated by fear. People who do amazing things like my father has done, courageous things, they feel like everybody else. But they refuse to be intimidated by fear. And I think still to this day, he is still refusing to be intimidated by fear.
So I'm going to hand over to Claire now, back in DC.
Firstly, thank you for having us. And I mean, of course, as Sebastian said, we are extremely heartbroken by the sentence. The sentence handed down this morning, Hong Kong time, is by far the harshest sentence handed down under any national security case so far, and will be for a long time. And this is for a man who has done nothing wrong. I mean, all they've proven is that he, as Jonathan said, all they've proven is that he is a man who loves God, loves his family, and loves freedom. And truth is an essential part of that. I mean, he has just shown the rest of Hong Kong that truth is like the value of truth. And the basis of the conviction and the sentence are really laughable at best. And I think, personally, I think it's deliberate. I mean, these are judges who have been judges for a long time, who have also, destroyed the reputation of Hong Kong, as my brother said. But it's deliberate because they want to push the defendants to appeal. And they want to push the defendants to appeal in order to carry on the argument that the proceedings are ongoing and that people should not interfere. No one should fall for that. I mean, as my father's multiple cases have shown, the ultimate arbiter of my father's cases and his freedom is in Beijing, not in Hong Kong. It's not. This is something that has to be solved sovereign to sovereign. It isn't something that will be solved through the court system. I mean, like the Tim Owen case, we won at every level, and then it was picked up by Beijing, and then we lost. It would just be wasting time that my father doesn't have. My brother has touched on it already, but my father is in failing health. I saw him a few months ago. I have watched as his pre-existing health conditions are very poorly managed, like his diabetes. He has suffered from diabetes for a long time, yes, but his blood sugar now is checked once every 3 weeks, if that. And his eyesight, which has just gotten worse over time. And as he has developed new health issues, like his heart issues, like his blood pressure problems, like his problems with his blood lipids, and there is a technical term for that. It just escaped. It's just not. I just can't bring it to mind right now. And I've also watched as the conditions he has been kept in have gotten worse. I mean, he doesn't even have access at any time of the day to direct sunlight or fresh air, not even during his 1 hour of exercise. The sky is completely sealed off. And when he's moved around the cell, he is completely covered in a thick black cloth, head to toe. I mean, all the signs point to the fact that the conditions he will be kept in will just get worse. They will not get better. I mean, this is what happened in the past 5 years, and now they have new arsenals in their toolbox through the changes in the prison rules, and also like the huge amount of leeway they are given in their treatment of prisoners to just make his treatment worse. And I know in my heart of hearts that the Blessed Mother and our good Lord is watching over my father. My father's faith hasn't wavered at any time, and it won't waver now. And as St. John Paul II said, never lose hope, and that God is with us in every fight, and especially this one. we as a family just long to do normal things. We want to go to mass together. We want to pray together. We want to have dinner around the table together. You know, like sometimes when I write to him, I write about baking a fish. You know, not things that are, you know, I mean, it's or reading or reading together or so on. And I hope China sees the wisdom in doing the just and humanitarian thing and releasing my father as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claire, Sebastian, Jonathan. Everyone will now begin the Q&A. Please use the raise hand function in the chat, and we will call on you individually. Let's start with Franny Black at the Free Press.
Hi, Claire and Sebastian. Thank you so much for doing this press conference and giving us an update on your father's condition. Obviously, Donald Trump is set to visit Xi Jinping in April, and I'm curious if you all know whether or not your father's case is going to be on the agenda for that meeting, and if so, is there hope that that could make a difference?
Should I start with the answer? Yeah. No. So obviously we have no idea about the agenda. Look, the president has said multiple times that this is a case that he cares about. He's mentioned it to Xi Jinping already, and as you said, the request is outstanding. But also it just outlines how important this case is, both obviously to the president of the United States, but to Xi himself. So I think we are in a situation where the April visit will obviously be crucial. And yeah, hopefully my father will still be okay health-wise until that point.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what Sebastian has said, I mean, we are extremely grateful to President Trump and his administration. I mean, they have a proven track record of freeing the unjustly detained, as Sebastian has mentioned, my father has been mentioned multiple times. So, you know, we're hopeful, but we don't know.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Sean Tandon at the AFP.
Sorry, unmuted myself. Thanks for doing this, and very sorry to hear about your father's situation. Sebastian, at the beginning, you mentioned a bit your father's reaction today, the stoicism, but a smile. I know these are little tidbits that you've heard. Can you explain a little bit more what you think is your father is feeling right now? I mean, he's given so much of his life for this, and now with this sentence, either from what you've heard or what you expect in the coming days, what you think he's feeling right now.
Yeah, many people have asked me whether I think he regrets this, and or whether I would have asked him to leave all those years ago. But then I remember when my father was first arrested 5 years ago, and then he was let out, and then someone had asked him, "Look, Jimmy, now that it's come to this, knowing that you might very well spend the rest of your life in prison, do you regret what you've done?" And he says, when I was in the detention cell, they gave you this thin little blanket, so I couldn't sleep, and so I had the whole night to look back on the last 30 years, and looking back, I realized I wouldn't have changed a damn thing. I think that was his reaction then, and I think that is his reaction now. He knows that he gave his all for his beliefs, for freedom, for democracy, for the people of Hong Kong, until there was no more to give. You can't control what these bullies, these horrible people do to you, but you control what you do, and he has done that, and it's incredible. It's incredible that he's still holding strong.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Next, we'll go to Didi Tang at the Associated Press.
Okay, good morning. Sorry to what has happened. Following up on what the State Department said, the State Department says, the State Department is authorities to consider humanitarian parole. So I want to get your, thoughts, like at this point, how likely do you think that, like, what kind of under the way to secure your father's release?
Sorry, the feed's quite bad. I didn't hear the first part.
I didn't hear any part.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's still
Okay.
quite, it still cuts off for some reason.
Oh,
Dee Dee, if you don't mind putting your question in the chat, we can read it out loud.
okay.
In the meantime, we'll go to Emmeline Vin at RFI.
Oh, sorry, Emily, I think you're still muted.
Indeed, apologies. Good afternoon. Thank you for this briefing and lots of thoughts to both of you. Sebastian, are you hoping for the UK government to do something now?
Yes, yeah, 100%. Look, I think over the last few weeks, many of you here from United Kingdom would have seen that the UK's new policy towards China is closer relationship. It's a normalization of relationships. But relationships can't be normalized until my father's free. I think in my mind, we've given many stuff away, including the trip, including the embassy. But everybody's worried about China in this country, especially regarding national security. And they have done nothing to abate our national security concerns. And look, if they're not even willing to put a 78-year-old man whose health they've ruined, who they've tortured for the last 5 years, whose business they've taken away, on a plane and send him back to the United Kingdom, that says all you need to know about this new strategy and all you need to know about how China thinks of us as a country. So I think this is the ultimate test between the UK and China.
Thank you. We'll go to Yuko.
Hi, Sebastian and Claire. Thank you so much for doing this. And I'm so sorry to hear about your father. My question is about the how do you see? So we just showed the Secretary of the State, Marco Rubio announcement statement to request a parole. But do you think that you are getting enough support from the international community? Is the pressure strong enough to change the course of Beijing and Hong Kong's authorities? And what do you expect from the Japanese government to do? Thank you.
If I can quickly mention, I mean, the Japanese government has been supportive. I mean, they were part of the G7 statement, and I've had certain interviews with certain Japanese outlets as well. And I mean, we are getting a huge amount of international support from the EU, from the UN. But as mentioned, this is an issue that has to be that has to be solved sovereign to sovereign. And I mean, far be it for me to say how foreign policy should be conducted, but there are certain countries like the UK which that in a country like with a country like China that has breached its treaties in the past, asking for a simple gesture of goodwill shouldn't be too much to ask. And that gesture of goodwill, to be clear, is the release of my father, who's a British citizen.
Yeah, I mean, I echo what my father said. Obviously, just echoing how grateful we are to the United States and Secretary Rubio for this statement and to President Trump. And also how grateful we are for Japan to sign on the G7 statement. Obviously, more can always be done. Japan could call for my father's release individually, as has many countries in the G7 statement. But we're grateful, and I think, look, my father's story is in some sense the embodiment of the freedoms that we enjoy in democracies and how they're being targeted and destroyed. And I think it's a good opportunity for many countries around the world who believes in these freedoms, who value these freedoms, to stand behind this man and say, this is our guy, and what you're doing to him is completely unacceptable.
I just do want it on the record that, I mean, the Irish Prime Minister Taoiseach, I don't know, has called for my father's release in its bilateral relations, and I mean, I just want to say how grateful we are for that as well. Yeah, and we hope that more countries do that, as my brother has said. These are the values that my father stood for, are values that are shared in many democracies.
Thank you. I'm going to read off Dee Dee Tang's question in the chat. On humanitarian parole, as called by the State Department, what efforts are underway for your father's release? How likely or how hopeful are you for his parole?
We have no idea, but obviously, look, this has been raised now at the highest level multiple times with Xi Jinping. Obviously, we don't know what the in-depth conversations are. But regarding humanitarian parole, this is a man who is, unfortunately very close to dying. This is a man who's gone through a tremendous amount. His body has really degraded, as Claire very painfully said. So that would just be the right thing to do. Otherwise, I think internationally you're looking at Hong Kong and China essentially abusing an elder.
And also, I mean, just to add, the life expectancy of the average male in Hong Kong is 83. My father was handed a 20-year sentence. He is 5 years from 83. I mean, just looking at this objectively, this has to be solved, sovereign to sovereign. It's not something that, given his poor health, he has it. Yeah. As I echo what Sebastian said.
We have time for one more question. I'll go to Helen.
Yes, I'm Helen. Nice to meet you too. I want to know that have you discussed the sentence with your father before? What he expected, and also I want to know is anything you want to say to the Hong Kong people? Can you speak in Cantonese to just speak to them? They are very, very concerned your father's situation.
I've seen my father most recently. I mean, obviously we knew that, I mean, this was something that, I mean, my brother put it beautifully, that it was something, you can't, if you live always deterred by fear, you don't really live at all. But my father, he always knew that he always trusted in divine providence from the very first day of his arrest up until most recently. He knew that he was in God's good hands, and he fully trusted that. And as to the words in Cantonese, 我想多謝大家。我見到琴晚有好多人喺西九出邊喺西九出邊瞓覺，好似嗰時係咪8點定係9點咧？已經有成30幾個人喺西九出邊瞓覺。好多謝大家嘅支持，亦都好多謝大家。有啲係我同我哥哥嘅訪問都會翻譯做中文。同埋即係蘋果日報25年做咗一個好難嘅任務，都係因為有香港人嘅支持，所以真係多謝大家。係咯。I can Helen, I can do a video for you later on, and yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I mean, just to add in terms of discussing sentencing, no, look, it's not something that Dad's ever discussed with us growing up. Obviously, we always knew that he was doing the right thing, even as children, and we always kind of knew back of our mind that this was a possibility, but that, you know, it's a man who's doing what's right, and I think it's as simple as that. And you don't really need to, if you're doing what's right, you don't really have to explain to your kids why you're doing what you're doing. And the consequences were understood, and we're obviously very proud of him.
Thank you everyone for joining. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to the email from which you received this invitation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.